Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Nate Baro Radha Nate Baro নাচে বড় রাধা নাচে বড় শ্রী রাধে নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you everyone for coming and thank you for inviting me. Hare Hare. Is it okay?
Make it a little higher.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Sumriti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pichayini Nirvishesha Shundagati Pachata Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Srinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Savana Kirtana Ridi Antastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Surita Satam Nasta Prayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Namasloke Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Naistaki Murabhi Gaurachandaya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 18. Chapter 8, Text 18. Queen Kunti Devi's prayers to Lord Krishna. So this is the most, I would say, most profound chapter because Queen Kunti Devi's prayers have been cited a lot. They are very famous, they are worth memorizing, and they're very deep philosophically as well as from a devotional standpoint. In fact, these prayers are so wonderful that Srila Prabhupada wrote a separate book just based on the teachings of Queen Kunti. There's a separate book on that, right? And just give a very quick recap about what happened until now in this chapter. So we know that after the battle of Kurukshetra, the Pandavas, they went to the Ganges to offer oblations to their forefathers, to their relatives and friends who passed away in the battle, right? And after that, they were very aggrieved because pretty much they have lost everyone, right? Their friends, their family. And so Krishna and the sages pacified them. And thereafter, Krishna established Yudhishthira Maharaj on the throne, right, which is their rightful throne. And then he was about to depart to Dwarka because his mission is in Hastinapur is over. But at that moment, Uttara comes running to Krishna, saying that, okay, please save me because there is an Brahmastra that has been thrown towards me. This is the same Brahmastra that Ashwatthama first kind of released at Arjuna. And because he did not have the power to neutralize that Brahmastra, he kind of diverted it. And it went to the womb of Uttara to basically annihilate the last descendant of the Pandava, which is Parikshit Maharaj. And Sri Krishna he kind of went inside Uttara's womb to kind of neutralize the Brahmastra. So that's the story. And he kind of saved Parikshit Maharaj, he saved Uttara, and then he's about to leave. And at that moment, Queen Kunti Devi kind of stopped him and then started reciting these prayers. While I'm speaking on these topics, I want you to pay special attention to the mood of Queen Kunti Devi, to the mood of Srila Prabhupada's purport, and I'm also going to touch upon the commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur from his Sarartha Darshini Tika, right? Because he also wrote some very beautiful commentary on these verses. So please pay special attention. I am not at all qualified to speak on these verses because these are such elevated verses, and this is the first set of stuti. Stuti means a set of prayers that comes in first canto. Of course, there are various prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. This prayer, the prayers of Rityasura, the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, the prayers of Dhruva Maharaj, the Gopi Gita. There are so many of them, but this is the first set of prayers that you encounter in this chapter. So it is worth memorizing. Even if you don't memorize, please try to go deep into them. So Queen Kunti Devi's words, the kind of words she uses in this set of prayers, they are the simple and illuminating outpourings of her soul, right? And they reveal the I would say deepest transcendental emotions of her heart, as well as they also reveal I would say the most profound philosophical and theological, I would say, foundation of these prayers. So this shows that how elevated she is, right? With the same set of prayers, she is revealing her innermost thoughts, she is revealing her wisdom, she is revealing her glorification, she is revealing her divine love, as well as she is revealing the philosophy. That's why Srila Prabhupada named the book Teachings of Queen Kunti. It's not the pastimes of Queen Kunti, the teachings are so profound. So having said that, let's just go to the first verse. I request you to open the verses on your phone because there are some word-to-word meaning that I'm going to focus on. So if you have it, so please open it. If not, I'm going to anyway recite them. Anybody wants to read the first verse?
Kunti uvacha.
Kunti uvacha.
Namasye purusham tvadyam.
Namasye purusham tvadyam.
Ishwaram prakrite param.
Ishwaram prakrite param.
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam.
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam.
Antar bahir avastitam.
Antar bahir avastitam.
Kunti uvacha.
Kunti
Uvacha.
Namasye purusham tvadyam.
Namasye purusham tvadyam.
Ishwaram prakrite param.
Ishwaram prakrite param.
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam.
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam.
Antar bahir avastitam.
Antar bahir avastitam.
Kunti uvacha.
Kunti uvacha.
Namasye purusham tvadyam.
Namasye purusham tvadyam.
Ishwaram prakrite param.
Ishwaram prakrite param.
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam.
Alakshyam sarva bhutanam.
Antar bahir avastitam.
Antar bahir avastitam. Translation. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. So I will not read the purport because it's kind of long, but I'm going to touch upon some aspects of the purport. So first I want to focus on Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on these verses. So the first verse is Namasya. Namasya means I offer my obeisances to you, or I bow down to you, right? And note the special mood of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, as well as the fine, very beautiful interaction that goes on between Krishna and Kunti Devi. There's a conversation going on. Of course, people who are outside listening, all the other devotees, they may not be able to hear, but there's a very silent, beautiful to and fro conversation going on between Krishna and Kunti Devi. So Kunti Devi starts with Namaste, means I offer my obeisances to you. And Krishna is saying, I'm your nephew, why are you offering obeisances to me? right? In Indian culture traditionally, the elders don't offer obeisances to the younger ones. It's the younger ones who offer obeisances to the elder ones. But of course, in the spiritual realm, it's different because even if your spiritual master is younger to you, you pay obeisances. But within your friends and relatives, you don't do that. That's just not the culture. But here, Krishna is Kunti Devi's nephew, that means he is younger than Kunti Devi. So Krishna is saying, I'm younger to you. Why are you offering obeisances to you? Therefore, the next word is Purusham. Kunti Devi is saying, no, you are Purusham, you are the supreme personality of Godhead, right? And Krishna says, what do you mean? Everybody is Purusham. By the way, Purusham means person, even though in some aspects Purusham also means a man, Purush, and Stri, Purusham, but here it means Purusham, the person. Just like we say, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, you are the supreme personality of Godhead. So Kunti Devi is saying, because you are Purusham, supreme person. And Krishna is saying, why? Everybody is a Purusham. I'm not the only Purusham. Everybody else is a Purusham. And look at, because this particular word can be misunderstood and given a Mayavad interpretation. When Krishna says everybody is Purusham, Mayavad can say, okay, Krishna is saying he's a Purush, we are also Purush, that means we are equal. That's a Mayavad interpretation. And see how beautifully Kunti Devi negates that kind of thinking, all right? Purusham. And Srila Prabhupada in his purport, he specifically focuses that there is a difference between Krishna being Purusha and we being Purusha. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, it says that there are two kinds of Purushas. One is fallible and infallible, right? Akshara and Shara and Akshara. But Krishna says, I'm transcendental to both of them. I'm above both of them. I never fall down. I'm never kind of touched by Maya. So there is a difference between Krishna as a Purusha and we as a Purusha. And Srila Prabhupada focuses on that aspect on the purport because otherwise people may misunderstand it or give a Mayavad interpretation. So Srila Prabhupada very focuses on the explanation of the word Purusham. So Kunti Devi says, you are the supreme Purusham. Krishna says, no, everybody is a Purusham. Then she says, Tu Adyam, okay, that you are the original, Tu Adyam. The word Adyam in Purusham also comes in a prayer in Brahma Samhita. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabha Adurlabha Atma Bhakta Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So these same words, Purusham and Adyam, comes in Brahma Samhita prayer. So basically Kunti Devi is saying, okay, you are the Purusha, but the difference, you are the original. You are the original Purusha, right? And Krishna is saying, no, the bodies are temporary, the bodies come and go, but all souls are original. They have always been there. This is not my commentary, this is Srila Vishwanath Thakur's explanation of each of these words. Krishna is saying, all these words, everybody is eternal, everybody is original, right? But again, Srila Prabhupada focuses on this explanation. There is a difference that Krishna is the cause of all causes. We are kind of expansions of him. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mama Ivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Sasta Indriyani Prakritisthani Karsati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. So it's very clearly said that, of course we are original, we are eternal, but we are parts of Krishna. We are never equal to Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains that Nitto Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Krishna is the original. So again, Kunti Devi negates that Mayavad interpretation that, okay, we are all equal. So next word is Ishwaram. Okay, then Kunti Devi says, okay, you are Ishwara. And that means you are the controller. And Krishna said, no, Surya is a controller, Chandra is a controller, Indra is a controller, the earthly kings are the controller. Right? Krishna is challenging us, testing our philosophical understanding, and Kunti Devi negates that. And if you look at it, all of us are Ishvara in some aspect. In chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, it says Kshetra and Sadragya, which is basically the field of activities, right? We have our own body, and within our body, we have limited control. We are controllers to some aspect, not fully. Krishna is the supreme controller, right? So Krishna is saying everybody is a controller in some aspect. Everybody is Ishvara. So next thing, in reply, Kunti Devi says, Prakriti Param. Yes, we are controllers, but you are even superior to Prakriti, material nature. You are transcendental to material nature. And so in that case, Krishna says, okay, so you are saying I am transcendental to material nature. In that case, who am I? Am I Paramatma? Then Kunti Devi said, Alakshyam. Alakshyam means, if you look at the meaning, it says invisible. He said, I don't know. You are invisible. You may be Paramatma, you may be something else, but I really don't know. You are invisible, and it's not for me to understand. You are only revealed to those who have the proper intelligence and the proper mood of worship. You reveal to those. So you could be Paramatma, Alaksham. And next, Kunti Devi says, Sarva Bhutanam Antarbahir Avastitam, that you are also situated internally as a Paramatma, which is the Alaksham, we can't see you, but also you are also kind of all pervading like a Brahman, like Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. So Kunti Devi is saying, okay, because you are all pervading, you are also outside. And the reason she is mentioning this, there's a reason. Because Krishna, while he was in his form outside, he protected the Pandavas always. But when he also went inside the womb of Uttara to protect Parikshit Maharaj. So Krishna is both outside and inside. And that's what he says, Antar Bahir Avastitam. Right? You could be outside, you could be inside, but I really don't know you. I don't know who you are. You are invisible. I really have no capacity to understand that. So that's basically the sum and substance of the first verse. Now we can go to the next verse. And so here Kunti Devi is ending by saying that you are invisible to all, and I have no capacity to know you. And why don't I know you? That's explained in the next verse, text 19. Anybody wants to read text 19?
Maya Javanika Chandam
Maya Javanika
Chandam
Agyo Dokshajam Avyayam
Agya Dokshajam Avyayam
Na Lakshya Se Mudha Drisha
Na Laksha Se Muda Drisa
Nato Natya Dharo Yata
Nato Natya Daro Yatya
Maya Javani Kachmanam
Maya Javani Kachandam
I Agya Dokshajam Avyayam
Agya Dokshajam Avyayam
Na Lakshya Se Mudha Drisha
Na Lakshya Se Muda Drisa
Nata Natya Dharo Yata
Nato Natya Daro Yatha. Translation, being beyond the range of limitations perception, you are the eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. And Srila Prabhupada gives a very lengthy purport to this particular verse. But let's go through the explanation of this verse first. So in the previous verse, Kunti Devi says, I really don't know who you are. You are all pervading. You are inside, you are outside. You could be Paramatma, you could be Brahman, or you could be something else. And why don't I know you? Because you are covered by the curtain of Maya. Okay, that's what she said. So the word Maya is there. Javanika is curtain. And Achandam, covered. You are covered by the curtain of Maya, right? It's just like, and then Krishna says, okay, then are you saying that I am covered by Maya? Again, no, Mayavad interpretation that they say that when Krishna comes to this planet Earth, he is kind of covered by Maya, he's in Maya, and when he's liberated, he's back in original form. Similarly, we are also in Maya, one day we'll be liberated, we will be same as Krishna. Again, remember the subtle nuances of Krishna's argument. So Kunti Devi is saying, no, I don't know you because you are covered by Maya. And Krishna said, does it mean that I'm covered by Maya? And so he's basically saying that, for example, let's say devotees who come here, let's say on a weekday at 2 o'clock, the curtain is closed because the deities are resting. And if you ask the devotee or whoever it is, the visitor, have you seen Radha Nadbar? There's no, they are covered by the curtain. That doesn't mean that Radha Nadbar is covered by curtain. It just means between our vision and Radha Nadbar there is a curtain, right? That's the thing. And Kunti Devi is kind of again negating this. She is saying, it is only the fools who think that you are covered by Maya. Can the cloud ever cover the sun? Never, because the sun is huge and the cloud is very insignificant. The cloud can never cover the sun. Of course, our vision sometimes may get covered by the vision of the from the vision of the sun. Just like today is very cloudy, you can't see the sun. But that doesn't mean that the cloud covers the sun. So Kunti Devi is saying that, I mean, it is foolish to even think of that you are covered by Maya, you are transcendental to Maya. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Daivi yasa gunamai mama maya duratya. You can only cross over the three modes of material nature by surrendering to me. So when it is clearly stated that we can cross over Maya by surrendering to Krishna, then how can Maya cover Krishna, right? So this is how all these Mayavad interpretations are negated by Kunti Devi. And she gives various reasons why Krishna is beyond Maya. Look at some of the words she uses. First of all, the first word she uses is adokshajam, beyond the range of material conception. That means you cannot be understood by our material senses, by our limited material perception, right? That's number one. Secondly, you are what is the other word you use? Akshajam Jnanam, which is the second line, which means only the ignorant think of you as being covered. So that means Kunti Devi is saying, I do not have the power to contact you, since your knowledge arises from my senses, because by senses we cannot understand Krishna. So that is like the knowledge of a fool who is trying to understand Krishna by his own mental speculation. We cannot do that. So therefore you remain abhayam. Abhayam, the meaning of abhayam is inconceivable, not affected by anything, by material modes of nature. That's what Kunti Devi is saying. And Kunti Devi further gives an analogy. Okay, he says, okay, but again, before that, Krishna says, okay, but what does it mean? I mean, you say you don't know me, you see me as a person, you know I've been around with you for so long, right? And then you also know philosophically that I am transcendental to material nature. When in the previous verse, Krishna Devi says, Prakriti Param, I am transcendental to material nature. You know all of this, then still, why do you say you do not know me? You see me, you know the philosophical tattva about my existence, but still you say you do not know me. And that's when Kunti Devi gives another beautiful analogy in the same chapter, in the same verse. Exactly as an actor, just as a player is not recognized, right? Sometimes in a drama, the performer knows the essence of what he's performing. He knows the rhythm of his dance, say he knows the rasa behind what he's trying to convey. But to an ignorant observer, you don't understand that. You say, okay, he's performing, but you don't know the intricacies behind that, right? For you, you see, but you don't see. You see physically what's going on, but you don't know the essence of that, what you are seeing, right? It's very similar to, let's say, a devotee singing kirtan. An expert singer, he knows at what time, what kirtan to sing, at what raga to use, because depending on specific times of the day, there is a specific raga. For example, Mangalarti, it's never very loud, very soft, soothing, right? And as though progresses, your kirtan, your songs get loud, and again, by the evening, again, your raga changes. So an expert singer, he knows at what raga to use, depending on the Ashtakaliya pastimes of Lord Krishna. He knows, okay, this is what Lord Krishna and Radharani's pastimes are. I think this raga would best fit the mood and the situation. An expert kirtaniya knows that. If you even hear Srila Prabhupada's all these bhajans, focus on the mood Prabhupada sings. It's not too loud. There's a kind of a mood, very difficult to understand unless we are on that platform. But he knows what he's singing, what raga is using, what mood he's conveying. But to us, for like every song is the same, every bhajan is the same, right? So that's the thing. So yeah, so that's why we see but you don't see. We hear but you don't hear. And that's what Kunti Devi is saying. It's very difficult to know you because even though we see, we don't see. It's like a dancer or an actor dressed as a player is not recognized, right? So these are some of the things that Srila Prabhupada mentions, and Srila Prabhupada in his purport kind of comes very heavily on this statement. I mean, see the contrast. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is revealing the sweet exchange between Kunti Devi and Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada is like a bold preacher. He's just like smashing everything, and he gives like 3 or 4 main reasons why we are not able to understand Krishna. The first reason he says is, he says that in the very first few lines, he says that less intelligent persons, people who have no intelligence, they do not want to accept Krishna as he is. Even if you tell them 100 times, they will still use their limited intelligence to understand Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Abhajanti mahamuda manusham tanum ashritam. Fools deride me when I appear in a human form. they do not want to know me, because we think Krishna is ordinary, right? Just in the previous verse, Krishna says, okay, everybody is Purusha, I am also Purusha, you are also Purusha. It's the same mindset. Okay, Krishna is ordinary, we are also ordinary, so what's special? So that's why it's a sign of less intelligence. So that's one of the reasons Srila Prabhupada says that people have a difficulty understanding Krishna. The next point Srila Prabhupada makes in this purport is the difference between demoniac mentality and divine mentality. The demoniac people, the asuras, they just don't want to accept Krishna because out of stubbornness, out of envy, out of some preconceived notions, they don't want to accept Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada very strongly says in this purport, how many times, how many proof do you need? As a child, Krishna killed Putana. As a young boy, he held up the Govardhan hill, right? Even when he was a baby, he killed the demon Sakatachura. I mean, so many pastimes are there. What more proof do you need that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That means you are just Asura, demoniac. If you kind of do a kind of, what is that called, that word cloud, right? The most frequently used word. After Krishna, I would say the most frequently used word of Srila Prabhupada is rascal. It comes at so many places. I would say after Krishna, rascal might be the most often quoted word by Srila Prabhupada, because he's just coming strongly on all of us, saying that what more proof do you need? All Krishna from all these pastimes and all the great sages, he says, like Vyasa, Devala, Asita, Narada, Madhava, Shankara, Ramanuja, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta, all other authorities of the line have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All our scriptures accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Ete Cham Sakala Pumsa, Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam, right? Govindam, Adi Purusham. So many scriptural references are there that prove that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the demoniac, they don't want to accept that. And Srila Prabhupada gives the reason, is because this is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present. Because of our past conditioning, because of our past, whatever it is, preconceived notions, we don't want to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? The next point Srila Prabhupada makes why we don't accept Krishna or we don't understand Krishna is because we are trying to understand Krishna by our material senses, right? And if you all know what are the 4 defects of the human beings, living entities? Imperfect senses. We have propensity to cheat. We have propensity to make mistakes. And we are always under illusion, right? Those are the 4 imperfection. So with these imperfect senses, with the 4 defects that human beings have, we can never understand Krishna. How can limited understand the unlimited? Impossible, right? Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a frog in the well, right? He thinks that his well is the greatest. And if you tell him, no, beyond your frog, beyond your well, there is a bigger well, there is a Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. Frog says, okay, is it bigger than this? Much bigger? And he gets so puffed up that he bursts, his heart bursts because he cannot accept that, because it's not possible. So we have to accept I would say the acharyas, the parampara system, right? Tad vidhi pranipatena, pradipresnana sevaya, upadekshyanti jnanam, gyanjas tadva darshana. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.234, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, surrender to him, serve him, and he will reveal the truth because he has seen the truth. So, tad gurum eva, what is that word called? Tad vijnanartam sa gurum eva vigachet. So we should follow our acharyas, right? So that's why. So if you just look at the conversation between Kunti Devi and Krishna that was happening, that Krishna is saying you are all Purusha, you are all controllers. If you don't follow the Acharya commentaries, you will be kind of misled. You will think, okay, we are all equal. But no, that's why it's very important to understand Krishna through the parampara system, through the disciplic system. And that's why reading Srila Prabhupada books are so important. I mean, just compare yourself before and after, before coming to Krishna consciousness and after coming to Krishna consciousness, how our understanding of Krishna has developed and progressed as you keep on reading Srila Prabhupada's books. That's why to get into Krishna consciousness in this age, Srila Prabhupada's books are the first gateway, you know. You go to Srila Prabhupada's books and then that will lead you to the temple that will lead you to the association of devotees, that will lead you to the chanting of the holy name. So Srila Prabhupada books are so important, and that's why all of you are doing such a wonderful job distributing Srila Prabhupada books. So that's the reasons. And the last reason Srila Prabhupada gives is that for less intelligent man, the beginning of spiritual life is essential. You have to start somewhere, right? If you are ignorant, if you don't know anything about Krishna, if you are less intelligent, if you don't have the mental capacity to understand Krishna, you have to start somewhere, right? Because of Srila Prabhupada's humility, he doesn't say that read my books. At least in the purport, he's saying, okay, that's why you need temples, mosques, churches, etc. And why is that important? There is a very profound reason behind it. In Bhagavad Gita, at two places, Krishna says, Man mana bhava, mad bhakto, mad yajimam namaskuru. Four things. This is the verse which is repeated twice in Bhagavad Gita. The highest platform is man mana bhava. Always think of Krishna. It's the gopis, the acharyas, the paramhamsas, Srimati Radharani, all of them are always absorbed in thinking of Krishna. That's the highest platform, man mana bhava. Krishna says, okay, if you can't do that, become my devotee. In which all of us are actually trying to practice. We are trying to become devotees. Srila Prabhupada is giving us the formula: chant the holy name 16 times minimum every day, follow the regulated principles, read my books, and then you will become a devotee, pure devotee. When you say devotee, it means pure devotee. You will become devotee at some point. So if you cannot think of Krishna always, try to become my devotee, mad bhaktya. Even you can't do that, okay, what is that? Madhyaji, try to worship me, right? In India, if you go, I mean, every home, almost everyone knows about Krishna. They worship Krishna in some form. Everybody celebrates Krishna Janmashtami in a big way. They may not be a full-fledged devotee yet, because they may not know the Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Vishnu Tattva. They may not chant the holy name. They may not associate with devotees. For them, Krishna is just another god in addition to the various demigods. But at least they are familiar with the word Krishna, with the name Krishna. So they are not fully devotees yet. But at least Krishna says, worship me. And that is also the beginning. At some point you will come in contact with the pure devotee or his representatives, and then your Krishna consciousness will start in a proper way. He said, still it's better, you worship me. Even then, if you can't do that, offer obeisances to me. Mam namaskuru, right? And that's where having temples, churches, mosques, synagogues is so important. Because for advanced devotees, for Paramahamsas, they really don't need a temple, right? You have the holy name, you can chant anywhere, you can read the books, you can do kirtan, you can go to Gudel Barg and do kirtan. You don't need a temple for that. Temple is mainly for neophyte devotees, because we are still at the neophyte stage, at least I am. That's why we have the deities. Krishna is saying, at least you will focus all your activities around the deities, we'll focus our daily life around the deities, we'll focus our consciousness on the deities. That's why deities are important, temple is important. And even then, even for those people who are not doing any of this, they are not full-fledged devotees, they are visitors, come once in a while. At least when they come, at least in India, they go to temple, Vishnu temple, they offer obeisances, at least just etiquette. They offer obeisances, they bring something for the deities, whether some donation or flowers or fruits, anything, right? So at least Krishna said, I'll accept that, because that's also like gives you lots of pious credits. So that's why Srila Prabhupada in the last line says, for less intelligent persons, bowing down before the authority of the Lord, as generally done in the temples, mosques or churches, is as beneficial as it is for the advanced devotees to meditate upon him by active service. So that's why when you are trying to build a big temple here in Columbus, it's just not for us. I mean, we are very happy with Radhanath, but in this setting, it's to attract more people to Krishna consciousness. Right? That's the whole purpose. At least they will come, they will offer obeisances. I go to Vrindavan frequently. At least you see there are so many people visiting on a daily basis. At least they are bringing something, they are offering obeisances, they are hearing the kirtan, they are receiving books. So their Krishna consciousness is starting, their bhakti yoga is starting some point. So that's what Srila Prabhupada says, when you don't understand Krishna, at least visit the temples. That's what Srila Prabhupada says, having temples, churches and mosques are so important. And by Srila Prabhupada's divine mercy, he's also introduced this prasadam system in ISKCON. Okay, if you're so dull you cannot understand anything, just eat prasadam. Just by eating prasadam, your consciousness will get purified and one day will go back to Godhead. So that's what Srila Prabhupada says. So that's the whole point. So coming back to the point, Kunti Devi is saying that I do not know you, whether you are Paramatma or whether you are Brahman, because you are covered by the curtain. That means my vision is covered by the curtain of Maya. Just like as a dancer dances and the viewers don't understand what is dancing. They just see him dancing. They see, they don't see. And the next verse, the last verse of the day, is text 20, where Kunti Devi talks about who can understand Krishna and who cannot understand Krishna. Can somebody read that verse?
Tata Paramahamsanam
Paramahamsanam
Muninam Amalatmanam
Muninam Amalatmanam
Bhakti Yoga Vidhartana
Nartham
Vidhanartham
Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham
Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham
Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham
Katam Pashyemahi Striya
Kadam Pasyema Histriya
तथा परम महम सानम
Tata Paramahamsanam
मुनीनाम अमलात्मनाम
Muninam Amalatmanam
भक्ति योगा विधानार्थम
Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham
कथम पश्ये मही स्त्रिया
Kata Pasyema Histriya. Translate? Okay, go ahead.
Tata Paramahamsanam
Katha Paramahamsanam
Muninam Amalatmanam
Muninam Amalatmanam
Bhakti Yoga Vidhanartham
Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham
Katam Pashyemahi Striya
Katam Pasyema Histriya. Translation: You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators purified by able to discriminate between merit. How then can we women know you perfectly? So here Kunti Devi is really revealing her humility, saying that, okay, I'm a woman, I cannot understand you. The Paramahamsas can understand you, the Muninam, the Munis, the sages can understand you, but I, being an ordinary woman, how can I understand you? Now focus on the word Tatha, the very first word Tatha, besides that. So in the previous verse, Kunti Devi said, I really don't understand you, I really don't know you, because how can I understand you? And she gives various reasons according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. He is saying that though you protect the Pandavas, right, always, and you counteracted the weapon of Ashwatthama for saving Parikshit Maharaj. Very difficult to understand. You protected us outside, you also went inside to protect Parikshit Maharaj. Difficult to understand, right? You promised not to use weapons, but to keep the promise of the vow of Bhishmadev, you took up weapons. In the Kurukshetra, Krishna promised that I will never take up weapons, and Bhishmadev said, "Oh, I have to finish Arjuna tomorrow, and then I'll make Krishna pick up a weapon." And Krishna had to break his vow because he wants to protect his pure devotee Arjuna, and so he took up the weapon. And Kunti Devi says, "You promised not to take up weapons, but you did, right? You are the maintainer of religious principles, right? But still you had the Mahajans like Bhishmadev, you killed him. I mean, how contradictory it is. In one way you protect the principle of religion, and you also kill the upholder of religion, Bhishmadev. How inconsiderable, right? And lastly, Kunti Devi said, you are so affectionate to Draupadi and Subhadra that you allowed their sons to be killed. Subhadra's son was Abhimanyu, he was killed, and Draupadi's all the 5 sons were killed, as we read in the previous chapter. So you let them kill, but at the same time, you protected Uttara's child. I mean, how do I understand you? There is so much of contradiction. You do something, and you do something else totally opposite. So how can I understand you? And I, being a woman, it's definitely impossible to understand you. That's Kunti Devi's humility, and that's why she is saying in this verse that how can we women know you perfectly, right? And Kunti Devi gives 3 kinds of persons who can understand Krishna. One, he says, Paramahamsa, right? We read Tatha Paramahamsanam, advanced transcendentalists. They have the capacity to understand Krishna. Or she says Muninam is the sages or philosophers. At least they understand Krishna because they understand the distinction between body and soul. They know who Krishna is. So they have the capability to understand that. Or she's using the word, what is the other word? Amala Atmanam, people whose minds are competent to discern between spirit and matter. Basically, they have no dirt in their heart. So Krishna is saying, Ukriti Devi is saying, these are the kind of people, very advanced transcendentalists who can understand you. But I, being an ordinary woman, who can understand you? And here the purport is a little bit small, but in the teachings of Queen Kunti, Srila Prabhupada gives a very lengthy purport of this. And Srila Prabhupada's whole point in that purport is trying to make us understand that even though Queen Kunti Devi says that I am an ordinary woman, we should not mistake her to be an ordinary woman. She is very, very exalted. She is on the level of Mother Devaki and Mother Yashoda. Srila Prabhupada says she's exalted. She's just kind of playing the role of an ordinary woman here to kind of make us understand that it's difficult to understand Krishna. How can ordinary people understand Krishna? But this in no way means that Kunti Devi is ordinary. And that's because of our humility. Because if you look here, pure devotees, the more pure they are, the more advanced they are, they feel very, very humble, right? On the other hand, in Kali Yuga, in Kali Yuga, we may be a little bit of a devotee, but we project as if we are big devotees, right? That's the opposite. Pure devotees, advanced devotees, they are really humble. Because what happens is that you keep on chanting the holy name, your heart softens. And as your heart softens, humility and gratitude, all these qualities come in you, right? But if you are not, if you are puffed up, we project as if we are bigger devotee than we actually are. So that's the contrast. And Srila Prabhupada actually focused on the word, on humility in his purport of this verse, saying that we should really be humble. Because even Queen Kunti Devi, even though she is so advanced, she knows everything about Krishna, she has been with Krishna for so many times. Krishna lived with them, ate with them, played with them, but still she is confessing that she doesn't know Krishna. Because even though she knows Krishna, she says, I don't know you. But we don't know Krishna, but we project as if we are big devotees. We have done Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Bhaivav, we have done that. That's the nature of Kali Yuga. We think we are bigger than who we are, right? So that's the thing. And so she's not at all an ordinary woman, and that's the greatness of Queen Kunti Devi. And so the point here is that in order for us to advance in Krishna consciousness, this submissiveness and humility is very, very important, right? As you read in that Bhagavad Gita verse I stated, that verse where submissiveness and humility is very important. That's what Kunti Devi is displaying here. She is humble, she is also submissive. Even though she is all good now, Yudhishthira Maharaj is given the throne back, the kingdom is regained, but still she is feeling a deep sense of separation from Krishna, because Krishna is going to leave them and go to Dwarka, because she is so surrendered to Krishna. And look at her humility and her qualities, Kunti Devi's. Of course, we know what they all went through, right? The Pandavas were tortured, they were driven out of the kingdom, Draupadi's 5 sons were killed, they were tried to burn, their house was trying to burn down, they were in exile for 13 years. Even after exile, when they came back, the kingdom was not given to them, which led to the Kurukshetra war. And what is also not commonly known is the story about Karna, right? Karna is Kunti Devi's son, Pandavas, if you're familiar with Mahabharata. And she is in such a dicey situation. Publicly she cannot accept Karna as a son, and privately she cannot reject Karna, because it's such a difficult situation. She even went to Karna and said, Karna, you are my son, can you please fight with the Pandavas and then not fight against them, because they are your brothers, they are your younger brothers. And Karna was like, in a very humble way, he said, okay, since they are my brothers, I promise you that I will come close to killing them, but I will not kill them. Okay, because that's what happened actually. Karna was so powerful, so empowered. I mean, he's so strong that he could have killed all the Pandava members, but he chose to be killed. He did not kill his brothers. And when during the funeral of the relatives, right? And when Karna was actually, this is the pastime revealed by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in one of his lectures on this verse. So the battle of Kurukshetra was over, and they were doing all these last rites, ceremonial rites, right, cremation and all that. And after everything was over, Kunti Devi and Yudhishthira Maharaj says, "Oh mother, everything is over, all our ceremony, our crematorial rituals are complete, so let's just go home." And Kunti Devi said, "No, there is one more." Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "Who do you mean one more? I mean, we have done everything, all our friends, relatives, soldiers, we have taken care of all of them." No, she said, "Come with me." And she leads Pandavas to Karna, who is also lying dead on the battlefield. She is saying that we have to perform the last rites of Karna. And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "Mom, why? I mean, he is a Kaurava, they will take care of him. How are you even related to him?" And Kunti Devi says, "He is your brother." He said, "How can it be? He is our strongest enemy. He was always against us. He was supporting the Pandavas. So what do you mean he's our brother?" We say, "You don't know, because I conceived Karna before I was married. Because since it is not socially acceptable in India to conceive a child before marriage, so I couldn't accept him publicly, so I had to kind of give him away. So he's your brother." And then all the Pandavas realized, "Oh my gosh, what have we done? He could have killed us. There are so many times the arrows just went past by our ear or our body. He did not pierce us." I thought, how can a warrior like Karna kind of miss his shots, right? But he did not kill us. And then they kind of remembered, "Oh my gosh, he intentionally did not kill us. He intentionally didn't harm us." So that's Karna. So Kunti Devi is so in distress, saying, "Here is my son Karna. I couldn't accept him publicly. I couldn't reject him privately, and look at the agitation she is going through." But at no point she blamed Krishna. Anything happens to us, okay, I don't know why Krishna is doing this to me. Krishna is not understanding. Krishna is not merciful on us. But Kunti Devi, at no point did she blame Krishna. Okay, we have gone through so much suffering. We have been driven out of the kingdom. I couldn't accept my son Karna as my son publicly. She never blamed Krishna. In fact, she's saying, "Krishna, don't go, stay with us, because we need you. We are self-surrendered to you." So these are the total qualities of humility and surrender. If you know the six steps of surrender, what are the 6 steps of surrender? One is you have to accept what is favorable to Krishna consciousness. You have to reject what is unfavorable. Accept Krishna as your master and Lord. You have to be convinced that Krishna is the protector, and you have to be self-surrendered to Krishna, and finally you have to be humble and meek. So Kunti Devi displays all these qualities. So she is totally surrendered to Krishna, she is dependent on Krishna, and she is also very, very humble, right? And Srila Prabhupada therefore says that the sign of a great devotee is this humility, right? And of course we are not at the state yet, because we are not amala atmanam, our heart is not pure, we are still impurities, and that's why the chanting of the holy name is so important. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, as we chant, all these impurities will go away, and we also kind of regain our lost purity and pure consciousness. And that's what Kunti Devi is saying, that even though I am a woman, I don't understand you, but Srila Prabhupada is saying, in no way do you kind of mistake her to be an ordinary woman. She is very, very exalted devotee, but she is teaching us what humility means. And just to wrap up, so I know humility is a great quality of a Vaishnava. Trinata Bisunichena Taroriva Sahisnuna, right? Be more tolerant than a tree and humble than a blade of grass. That's Mahaprabhu's key Sikshastakam prayer, saying that you should always be humble, no matter what happens. Be humble, be tolerant, and that will give you more taste for the holy name, right? Kirtanya Sadahari, that's very important. His Holiness Radha Swami says, tie this verse as a satin around your neck, because this is so important, most profound, the most important verse for us to progress in Krishna consciousness, humility. Don't show off, be sincere, be genuine. Whatever service you do it sincerely, have no hidden agenda, right? Because you are dealing with Krishna. Krishna knows everything within our heart. We cannot cheat him, we cannot run away from him. So that's why humility is so important, and that's why chanting of the holy name is so important, because that quality of humility and gratitude wouldn't come out so naturally unless we chant the holy name. So it's important for us to chant the holy name so sincerely and offenselessly. And humility is also one of the greatest qualities of Srimati Radharani. She has also he said she has 24 transcendental qualities, but she has other qualities as well, and humility is one of her greatest qualities. So and if you are humble, if you serve in a mood of humility, nothing pleases Srimati Radharani more than this, right? Think, okay, this devotee is trying to serve us, serve Krishna in all humility. So it's very important to develop that humility, like Mother Kunti Devi, right? And as we are kind of approaching the final festival of Sri Radhastami, it's important for us to remember the mood of Queen Kunti Devi about humility, because that will lead us to Sri Radha Krishna. The bhajan that we sang, right? Narottam Das Thakur says, I long for the day that I will follow in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve Sri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. So that's the mood. So the fact that Sri Radha Ashtami is the last festival of the year is not a matter of coincidence. There's a purpose. We are Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Our ultimate goal is Srimati Radharani, right? We are not even desiring to serve Krishna, desiring to serve Srimati Radharani. Because when you serve Radharani, Krishna is pleased, and when you serve Krishna, Radharani is pleased. So look at how all these festivals build up gradually. We started the year with the appearance of Advaita Acharya, then Nityananda appearance day, then Gaur Purnima, then Nashinga Chaturdasi, then Ram Navami, then Balaram Jayanti, then Lord Krishna Jayanti, Janmashtami, then Prabhupada appearance there, that okay, between Krishna and Radharani you also need a spiritual master guru, and finally the culmination of all these tithis, all this festivals, Srimati Radharani. So just let's pray that in the next 10 days, as we are approaching Sri Radhastami, we kind of remember her, remember Queen Kunti Devi's teachings, remember the power of humility, and then offer our heart and soul to the divine couple. So that's what I basically take away from these three verses. Thank you so much. Any questions, anything? Let me know.
Hare Krishna. I see nothing on YouTube. Anybody have any questions over here?
Yeah, so just to clarify, so she talks about in text 19.
Text 19?
Yeah, how he's covered by the Krishna's diluting energy, right?
Right.
And I remember you mentioning like she couldn't tell if Krishna was like a Paramatma or a Brahman or anything like that. But technically she knows.
She knows.
She knows who Krishna is.
Right.
So like when she says that, it's not, that can be really, really confusing for some people to read. It's kind of like hinting at the fact that Krishna could be the Paramatma, Krishna could be just Brahman. But I was wondering if you could kind of elaborate on that a little more.
So Krishna is all of this, right? So the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is Vadanti Tattva Vidas.
Could you repeat the question?
Okay, so the question is in the previous verse, text 19, Kunti Devi is saying that I really don't know you. You said you are Paramatma, you said you are Brahman, but I really don't know you. And Bhakta Aiden's question is, so it may also kind of confuse people, saying that okay, Kunti Devi is saying she doesn't know who Krishna is, whether he is a Paramatma or Bhagavan or Brahman. So he's asking us to elaborate more on that. So in answer, the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is Vadanti Tattva Vidas Taddam Yat Agayam Brahmeti Paramanmeti Bhagavaniti Shaptate. So Krishna says, learn transcendentalists know me in three aspects. Either they know me as Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan, right? So Krishna is all three of them, but it depends on your level of realization, and Krishna's revealing it to us, right? For impersonalists, for them Brahman is everything, so Krishna doesn't reveal more. If you think that I am all pervading Brahman, so okay, fine, you will attain my Brahman effulgence. The more advanced are people who are okay, know that Krishna is localized within the heart as Paramatma. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham ridi sanivisto matta smritir jnanam apohanam sa vedasa sarvar ahameva vedya vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. That I am situated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. Krishna says that. So depending on yatamam prapadyatam statami bhajami aham, depending on the level of surrender, Krishna reveals. Okay, for those who are not very advanced, who are only focusing on the impersonal aspect, Krishna reveals as Brahman. For the yogis who meditate on Krishna as a super soul, he reveals as Paramatma. And for devotees like us who accept Krishna as Purusham, Supreme Person, he reveals us as Bhagavan. So it's a level of realization. So Krishna reveals according to a level of understanding, according to a level of surrender to him. So that's how it is. But yeah, Krishna is all of them. Kunti Devi is saying, I don't know you, because it's in contradiction, right? You are outside protecting us, you are inside protecting the womb of Uttala. So how do I understand you? That's Kunti Devi's humility, saying that I don't understand you, but even though she understands everything. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yes, Hari Prabhu.
I was thinking in verse 18, it's mentioning that you're existing within and without.
Right, Antar Bahir Avasthitam.
Yeah, it's a very understanding where we're coming from. Krishna protected within and without.
Right.
Within in Uttara's womb and without Arjuna. And
right.
Arjuna invokes. So I think it's very poetic that in this point, within and without. Do you have any comment on that?
No, it's the same thing, right? It comes repeatedly everywhere. Bahir Nashingo, Hridaya Nashingo, Shingam Adim Shanam Prapadde. He's all pervading, right? He is everything. So depending on how we realize him, he is there, right? So that's why it's inconceivable. Srila Prabhupada says we'll never be able to understand Krishna fully because he's so inconceivable, and with our limited senses. That's why he focused on the purport. We are trying to understand Krishna with our senses. With our limited senses, we can never understand Krishna fully. So we just have to accept it. Okay, our acharyas are saying it, our authorities are saying it. So let's just accept it that this is the fact. But yeah, Krishna is otherwise, how is it possible? Like we have the deities, we don't talk to them like face to face like this, but still they know our innermost hearts, innermost desires, right? That means Krishna is listening, right? Right. When we chant japa, we reveal our desires, but you don't say it loudly. But Krishna knows what our desire is. If you are aspiring from a specific spiritual master, Krishna fulfills your desire. We did not go and tell Krishna and write a letter saying, Krishna, this is my desire. I am aspiring from so-and-so disciple. Could you please convey this to my aspiring spiritual master? He doesn't do that. But the message goes, right? The message goes. The spiritual master understands he is trying to aspire from me. The disciple understands that he is my spiritual master. So Krishna knows everything. So it's a matter of revelation and having a belief that yes, Krishna is hearing, right? He is unlimited. He is unlimitedly pervading everywhere. So that's the whole point. I mean, Antar Bahir Avasthitam is outside, is inside. But as our devotees, we want to long for a day where Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, when our eyes are decorated with the ointment of love, and then we are able to see Krishna face to face and talk to him. Srila Prabhupada said that's why he so focuses on going back to Godhead. Go back to Godhead, and then you'll see and play and talk to Krishna face to face. So that's why our whole goal of life is just to go back to Godhead. That's what Srila Prabhupada's message is. It's not giving us anything less than that. He said you all have the formula, you all have the process, you all have the regulatory principles, you have the books, you have the understanding, you have the acharyas, you have the disciples, you have the devotees. What else do you need? Just follow them and go back to Godhead, so that there is no more Antar Bahir Krishna, only Krishna you, so I am Bhagavan in front of you. So that's the whole point.
I had one comment and then one question for you. My comment is we were talking about sometimes devotees get, including mostly myself, is that we get puffed up and thinking we know Krishna, we're so senior and things like that. And then colloquially there's a term that we use in ISKCON, PDS, Pure Devotee Syndrome.
Pure Devotee Syndrome. I know it.
You never heard of it? A lot of people say this, So colloquially, what it means is that when you have pure devotee syndrome, you think you're like the best. You're like really puffed up, and you're judging everybody else, and you're putting everybody down. Oh, Prabhu, you eat 3 times a day. You should only eat 1 time a day. Only khichdi.
Oh, Prabhu, you should not drink milk. It's Karmi milk.
So basically, when we say that somebody has pure devotee syndrome, it's not a very nice thing to say. It's like saying that they're very puffed up or they're like a shooting star or something like that. But I was thinking that the pure devotee syndrome is actually the true pure devotee syndrome is to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees, like Queen Kunti.
Right.
You know that. So when you, it's not that we're not supposed to act like pure devotees. We're supposed to become. We have to always remember the goal is to become pure devotees
devotee.
of Krishna.
Yep.
You know, so the goal is to become pure devotees of Krishna. So how do you become pure devotees of Krishna? Is to act like the pure devotees of Krishna, not anukaran, anusharan. Anukaran means following. You know, if he does this, I'm going to do that. Anusharan means taking shelter of their principles that they outline.
Right, not blindly following, which is like imitating. Imitation is not the process; it's the following the instructions. Right, there's imitation and following. Right, so that's the difference. We should know that sometimes we don't know the difference. We just blindly follow them. Okay, he's doing this. I'm also doing this. He is.
It's not like Prahlad Maharaj got pushed off a cliff. Let me go jump off a cliff.
Exactly. We follow the instructions. That's all.
So yeah, we follow instructions.
As much as you could, depending on our level of capacity and everything. Whatever we follow sincerely. That's the whole point. Das anudas, right?
Yeah, so I was thinking that's real pure devotee syndrome.
Right.
That we must always follow in the footsteps of pure devotees like Queen Kunti.
Yeah.
And the question from Mayuri on YouTube is coming as Hare Krishna, Pritam Prabhu, thank you for delivering wonderful Bhagavad Prasad. My question is the ninth offense of the holy name is preaching the glories of the holy name to the faithless.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Srila Prabhupada's purport mentions the importance of temple, prasad, etc. to awaken dormant love towards Krishna. So why not we should preach the glories of Harinam to them? I understand maybe after listening that they might change and develop love towards Krishna. Please explain as I don't have clarity. Thank you.
Okay. So the question is, Mother Mayuri is talking about the ninth offense among the 10 offenses of chanting the holy name. The ninth offense is, ninth or eighth, whatever it is, that it is an offense to explain the glories of the holy name to an unfaithful person who has no faith in the holy name. It is an offense to explain the holy name to them, right? And at the same time, and in verse 19, we have read that Srila Prabhupada wanted us to build temples and so on, so that people can hear the holy name. So this was the same question that was asked to Srila Prabhupada. I don't know. I think this story was also there in the Juhu story book by Giriraj Maharaj. I think somebody asked a similar question as to Srila Prabhupada. I know there's so many devotees who come to temple, but not all of them are devotees. So when we chant the name, they are also hearing, right? Even though they don't have faith. Srila Prabhupada says, yes, that's correct. But remember, in the temple setting, there's also devotees. So we are chanting for them. We are doing kirtan for the devotees, but at the same time, the non-devotees who don't have faith in the holy name, they will hear it, and the holy name will do its effect. At some point, they will also become purified. They will come to understand through the association of devotees the power of the holy name. And this could be the case for most of us, even though, let's take my case. Many years ago, when I first I was exposed to the holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, even before I knew about Srila Prabhupada or ISKCON or so on. Many years ago, even as a child, when I was growing up, every year on New Year's Day, I remember whatever we had this goddess Kali temple in wherever town I was growing up. Every year on New Year's Day, we would have this 24-hour Hare Krishna Kirtan, okay, this same Mahamantra. None of us knew what the holy name was. We all knew, okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, we all knew that, but we really didn't know the meaning of it. We didn't know the understanding of it, didn't understand the philosophy behind it, right? For us, just another name. But still, we kind of sang. We had no faith, we had no understanding, we had no devotee association, we had no books to explain to us what this is all. We are just following blindly, imitating, right? Everybody is singing, we are also singing. But look at that, it worked. After so many years, at some point, I came in contact with a devotee. I got access to Srila Prabhupada's books. And then it kind of started from the bhakti. The life of bhakti starts from there. So it's okay. I mean, when you preach the holy name to a group of devotees, some non-devotees may also hear. It's okay, right? But Srila, on that particular offense that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, that the 10 offenses mentioning is that we should not intentionally explain the glories of the holy name to a person who is intentionally faithless, right? There are some persons, if you give them the holy name, they will say, "Kya Bhagwasa?" They will say, what rubbish? There are so many other mantras, right? You should sing that. So for people who are intentionally offensive, you should not explain the glories of the holy name to them. But for people who are innocent, remember there are people who are innocent and there are people who are offensive. Right? Innocent people will get the benefit even if we tell to them. So there's a clear distinction. If you go on the street, you distribute books, you chant the holy name, and some people will be very, very repulsive. You say, what? Nonsense, I don't want to hear it, it's all nonsense. So for them, never disclose the power of the holy name. Stay away from them. You did it once, tried it best, they are not going to take it, at least for now, so leave them. But for others, for innocent souls, for people who are sincere, it's okay for them. So that's my understanding. So they are not contradiction. I mean, there is a kind of very distinction between the two, but depends on who you preach to and how you preach. That's my understanding.
There's a difference between like foolish and envious.
Foolish and envy, yeah, exactly.
So we have to for people who are like Ramari Prabhu says this. We should take the association of people who are senior to us, who are closer to Krishna.
Right.
We should make friends with people who are equal
Yes.
and progress on the path of bhakti. But people who have made up their mind that they want nothing to do with Krishna, we should avoid their association wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
You know? So if they made up their mind and they've said, that either they may be atheists. I've even come upon like atheists who are rather. I would put them in the class of foolish rather than envious.
Right.
Because then they're kind of they're not true 100% atheists. They're more agnostic.
Right.
In that we are not able to understand what is up there. It's not I wouldn't count them as envious. I would put them as foolish rather than envious.
So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right, 4 kinds of people who surrender to Krishna and 4 kinds who don't.
Yeah.
The 4 kinds who surrender are people who are inquisitive about Krishna, who have desires of wealth, who all of those 4 artha jigyasu jnani cha bharatarshava. But there are 4 others who are totally against. Namam duskrina muda naradama prapaddante maya partha jnana asuram bhavam ashrita. 4 kinds of people don't surrender to Krishna. People who are grossly foolish, muda. Right? Those are foolish, grossly foolish. They don't have nothing to do. They really don't have the capacity to understand. That's one of them. And Naradama, the lowest among mankind, right? The meat eaters and all these bad qualities, the lowest among mankind. And the third one is Maya Partha, those who are covered by illusion. They're totally under illusion, right? And then the fourth one is Asuram Bhava, people who have demoniac tendencies. Those are the kind of 4 people who will never surrender to Krishna. So it's better not to even preach to them the power of the holy name. To those kinds. It's okay to preach to the other 4 who are like, even though they have some material desires, but at least they are innocent, they are sincere, and at some point they will take. So an expert preacher, he can distinguish between who are the takers of the holy name and who will never be the takers of the holy name, at least in this lifetime. So it's a matter of your expertise and a level of advancement in your ability to preach to the right people. So it's a matter of whether you're Uttam Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, or Kanishta Adhikari. So that's the thing. So that's what I can understand. Anything else? Yes,
I
Prabhu.
wanted to add a quick comment. Forgive me if I say something that goes against anything Srila Prabhupada and the scriptures have taught us. I kind of think about people coming to the temple, like you're not like they technically have faith, I would say, because they're coming to the temple. So even if they don't consciously or like outside or exteriorly expressing faith, they clearly have some type of faith because they're coming into the temple. So you're not necessarily instructing a faithless person in that manner because they're actually having that sort of faith to come here. Or they're asking about the holy name, for example. If you're out on Harinam, they have the faith to ask about the holy name. If they didn't have faith, they'd just walk away. They wouldn't ask any questions. So that's also one thing we have to remember. Like, that's the most important thing, like mercy of the devotee. Like, when someone asks you questions, it's not like, oh, these people are ignorant and they're in Maya. And that's, the one definition of, pure devotee syndrome, you could say. Not the true definition, as Hari said, but like,
that's what we have to do. Like, you have to have mercy. You have to be able to instruct those people who are actually inquisitive because they're showing faith by asking questions. If they didn't have faith, they wouldn't come up to you and ask questions. They wouldn't peek around and stay around for the Harinam and be like, what are they doing? That shows that they have faith. So that I just wanted to add that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point because faith is
So
the
if they ask
beginning.
one question, then they must have some.
Exactly. Because it's correct. They have some faith, that's why it brings them to temple, right? Otherwise, why would they come to temple? And faith is the beginning of spiritual life. That is the 9 steps of devotional life, right? It starts with Shraddha, without Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, faith, Sadhu Sangha, you take Shraddha of spiritual master, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nibriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava Prema, to 9 steps. So faith is the beginning. So, I mean, our faith also increases over time, right? As you associate more, as you read more, hear more, chant more, have more prasadam, your faith increases. So similarly, they have some faith that brings them here. So they are not foolish. They will take the holy name, but they are totally on the opposite. There are other extreme. There are people who have no faith, no appreciation. Some people have no faith, but they have at least appreciate. Okay, leave them alone. They are doing what they are doing, right? We don't judge against them. But there are people who are totally antagonistic. They will not, they have no faith. They will also not let you have that, not appreciate you for having that faith, right? So it's a matter of discerning who are those people and kind of.
And the reason why that why they say that is that because if you go tell them about Krishna or the holy name, they may make offenses to the holy name,
Yes.
to the devotees, and then you think you're making their life better, but you're making their life worse off in the long run.
Right.
Because they may, like in New York, we meet so many like bums and so many like crazy people on the street, So it's not that we have to tell the Prabhu come and follow them. We let some people go.
Right.
Who look crazy. There some people are crazy, So we let them go. But if what happens if we approach them and we say blah 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 Krishna consciousness, they don't like it. They punch a devotee in the face or like they stab somebody, which has happened before. So if that happens, then it's like then it's a bigger offense. It's putting them in a worse situation.
Right.
So that's one of the protections.
Yeah, because that will again glide them further down in that whole
Because the very
life.
first offense also says to blaspheme the devotees.
For blaspheming the devotee, exactly, because that offense will lead to more offenses and they will further glide down towards the animal life. So in order to protect them, so let's just leave them alone and pray that at some point they will take up bhakti, they will come in association of pure devotees. So prayer is very important. You pray for yourself, also pray for others. Okay, my Lord, let him become a pure devotee at some point, some lifetime. Let him come across a pure devotee, and then it will all start. So we should never, of course we stay away, but we never hate them or whatever. We pray for them. So let them also be uplifted at some point through association of pure devotees or his representatives.
In CC, in the last chapter of the Adi Lila, it mentions that if you, it's not mentioned in this case, but in what you can do is that you can chant when you're in the Harinam, there's Harinam going on and there's book distribution right beside it. If there's a person who's faithless, like we met so many people, we went to Harinam yesterday by Gulha Park, me, Darpan meeting. And then so we were chanting, we probably met like 5, 10 atheists. We didn't meet them, but they probably walked by atheists, not faith. But Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions that when they hear the Mahamantra, even unconsciously or consciously, when they hear it, the seed of bhakti is planted in them.
Right.
So like Mahaprabhu said, he's a big gardener, but he needs many gardeners to help him plant those seeds. So when we go and chant Hare Krishna, he may not fructify in this life, may fructify 10 lives, but we guarantee that anybody who hears it, the seed of bhakti is planted.
Just like your whole Athens trip, right?
Yeah.
The seed of bhakti has been sown many years ago by whoever it is, whether it's Radhana Swami Maharaj or some devotees, and now you're seeing the result. You go there, people are taking it, right? So that's the power of the holy name. Yeah.
So I just want to, any more comments and questions?
Oh, okay.
Just want to thank you, for binding all these 3 amazing verses together so nicely.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Starting from the first verse where you were like, how you all started off, there is like a conversation. So if we had read this by ourselves, it would be like, oh, okay, please glorify Krishna.
Right.
But it's like, to that point, and second verse, from purport, you set 4 points from Prabhupada. So that
Right.
was also really nice. third one was humility. So very nice.
It's not my saying, it's all Acharya saying it. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. I'm just kind of taking bits and pieces here and putting it together. It's not my contribution. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada and his predecessor Acharyas. Okay? Thank you for inviting me to serve Srimad Bhagavatam. Granthala Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Hari Bol.
That's a good Saturday morning.